I want a team of women who's so happy and so healthy, and we get to live what we're building here. And it's about the team and the customer. Welcome to the Fusionary Health Podcast. It's your host, Dr. Shivani Gupta, and I have a very special guest in store for you today, Ryan Riley. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege to even be considered to be a part of this. So thank you so much.
For sure. So I'm going to do a rough bio on Ryan, and then he can fill it out better. He is one of the co-founders, past CEO, person who helped build a great company in the supplement space called Cellcore that eventually had a really beautiful exit and is still existing out there in the world, supporting practitioners with great products for gut health. And then he's also the founder and co-founder of an incredible new company called Fifth Hammer that helps entrepreneurs on their path to building really game-changing companies. And so I know some of the founders who Ryan is working with right now. And when I walked into a conference 2 years ago and sat down to dinner and met Ryan, my entire life changed. He gave me profound faith and insight. And I still consider him my mentor therapist to keep me on the path to successful on my journey with Fusionary. So welcome to the podcast, Ryan. Do you want to add anything else to your bio?
No, that's beautiful. I think that it's interesting. I say the secret of success in life and in business and in general is to find people that are better than you and then convince them that you're worth it. So my marriage, I'm working on 30 years of marriage. I found an amazing wife that you've met that is 1,000 times better than I am. And I have to convince her daily that I'm worth it. And I feel the same about you, Shivani. It's such an honor to be surrounded by people like yourself that are looking to change, to create something that's beautiful in the world, to be able to bring, like, Ayurveda has such a beautiful part, has been, of my life. I've lived in India. I've traveled all through India, and Ayurveda medicine has such a strong place in this world that I don't think people understand that. And so your mission to be able to share that with the world is amazing. And I'm just really fortunate to be a part of and to be held in such esteem by yourself. So thank you.
Well, let's talk about India for a moment. I always love hearing everyone's stories around India. I've gone to India probably 30 times now plus in my life. I always went for my summers to live there in my grandparents' homes. It's where I learned about the super spices that I talk about. My grandma would always say, "Oh, you've got a stomach problem? Hinka pani," and it would be her own recipe, and then I'd be completely healed. And so I remember you talking about India and exploring the herbs while you were there and learning so much. So will you share some of your insights from India?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because I've been to India several times in different capacities. The first time I went to India was as my background is in business technologies and data sciences. And so I went to India to build a technology team. And I was in the Andhra Pradesh region. So had a beautiful experience of actually getting to know the people and immersing myself in the culture for 9 months. And really enjoying what these amazing people have to offer the world. And I remember sitting there, and this was early 2010s. And I remember being in country and thinking, man, there's so much to offer here. The people are beautiful. The culture is beautiful. The food is beautiful. But also their way of life and finding balance in their way of life. There's so much to offer here. And I didn't realize how much of an impact that would have on my life and my career as time went on. And that takes us to the conversation that I had with Dr. Todd Watts, who was the founder of Cellcore Biosciences. He moved in my neighborhood, and I knew his twin brother and his sisters. And so I went over to say hi. And in that conversation, I kind of do what I do. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, Todd, how can I serve you? What's the best way that I can serve you?" And he looked at me and said, "I need a CEO." And little did I know at the time, he had a small product that was called Mimosa Pudica seed. And Mimosa Pudica seed is 100% wildcrafted in India. It was completely, he was working with a gentleman that we both know to be able to bring this in, to create it into a supplement. And it literally changed, that little seed changed my life. It gave me an opportunity to help Dr. Watts grow his business to the point where we were able to hand it off to an amazing company that is taking it beyond where we could take it. But in that process, I actually went to India a couple of times to build relationships, to understand the wildcrafting of the Mimosa Pudica seed, to work with other formulas. Para 2, which is part of the Cellcore product line, is actually 100% Ayurveda formula. In fact, it was formulated by the head of the Ministry of AYUSH, Secretary of Ministry of AYUSH, that I had an incredible opportunity to sit down and talk to him. And in that conversation, the one thing that I thought was incredible, we spent the day with Rajesh Katuka, and what he shared in his 10 years of being in that position, he has created wellness centers alongside allopathic centers. So he has Ayurveda medicine centers that work hand in hand with allopathic medicine.
Amazing.
And like, what a concept, right? And so what happens is when somebody's not feeling well, they first go to the Ayurveda side. They go and understand, how does movement, how does medicine, how does natural medicine, how does gut health, how do all of these things work to your favor to be able to help you overcome things? If there's an acute injury or acute trauma, then it goes into the allopathic side, because I think that's where allopathic is amazing at. But it was that concept of building the balance, again, that word balance, between allopathic medicine and Ayurveda natural medicine that has been used for hundreds of centuries. I mean, from the beginning of time, as we know, they've been calculating and understanding and knowing how these herbs have the opportunity to have an effect in the body. And so it was a complete honor to be able to enjoy that day with Dr. Katuka, and to be able to really get a feel for what Ayurveda medicine is and where it can be. And then I've toured Ayurveda colleges. I've been all over northern India to be able to build and work and create the supply for Mimosa Pudica seed, which is Para 1 that Cellcore is well known for. So that's kind of some background there. And I absolutely love the country.
Yeah. I mean, I love meeting almost every single person. I think every single person I've met in my life who's been to India has said, I love India. I love the food. Oh my God, the colors, the sights, the smells, the Taj Mahal. I'm like, yeah. And it's actually rare that someone actually stayed there long enough to actually kind of get that feeling of what the people are about.
Yeah.
And certainly for anyone to take the time to go study the Ayurveda aspect. I remember when I was so sick in college, it was like devastatingly sick. My parents, for the 18th time, didn't know what to do with me. Finally got me well with antibiotics. And I was like, none of this is working. We need a different path. And when I went and visited the Ayurvedic centers all around India, I was like, this is it. This is insane. You guys teach a completely preventive lifestyle of medicine that I needed this whole time. I needed it for 2 decades till now. And on top of that, out back, you've got a garden. And you're saying the garden can do everything? Every plant, from the turmeric to the ginger to the fennel to the fenugreek, cinnamon. Like, before it became so popular to talk about cinnamon for, high blood sugar benefits and all these ideas, Ayurveda, like you said, for thousands of years said, out back, we've got the garden. And the garden can do everything. And it's just beautiful that you went and found that seed that worked and has impacted millions of lives now.
Yeah, it really has. And the thing that I love about it is the way they process, the way they work with the herbs. It's so natural. Right. It's so simple and so basic, and they've taken it down to just what the herb can truly do for you. And that's what I love in Ayurveda, and it's really the whole AYUSH. It's the yoga. It's everything. The homeopathic. It's everything that India stands for, which is, I think, is beautiful. And the people are beautiful. Their heart is beautiful. And my favorite experience ever in India is just driving in the traffic. I love to drive a car in India. I love it. I absolutely freaks my family out completely, but I love.
Sure.
Yeah.
You've driven in India.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm completely.
I'm forbidden from touching a vehicle in India. They're always like, no. And when I go, typically no one lets me roam India myself. So not only am I not driving, but our driver is given express instructions. Shivani must be accompanied every foot that she walks. And when she sits in a restaurant, you'll sit across from her, or not, they're not even allowed to sit with you. You will sit near her and you are her bodyguard. Because that girl, because my family thinks of me as this like adventurous wanderer who's completely unaware of good or bad around her. I assume everyone is good. So they always are putting protective bubbles around me. Which is
what's funny about that is like, I've never felt in danger or I've never felt that in India. I've been to some of the like back areas of, the people are beautiful. They're incredible people. So I appreciate that sentiment, but man, I'm trying to think I don't think I've ever felt in danger at all. I felt welcomed. I felt embraced. I felt honored. And it's such a beautiful, anyways, it's beautiful. We can sit here and talk, but this isn't the whole reason why we could.
Yeah. I was just thinking, all right, well, switching gears. Okay. I met you at a conference almost, I think 3 years ago now. And we've become, such great friends since. And I feel lucky to consistently be able to text you and say, hey, I have an idea. Hey, this is happening. Hey, this worked. Hey, this totally didn't work. What do you think? And picking your brain. And I know this year you did an incredible presentation and it really rocked my world because working with you and working with my mentors, I've really grown my company over the last 3 years. We've had a complete turnaround from like stagnation for years to this uptick. That's beautiful. Now we're on the wild ride called Company's Not an Infant. Company is a toddler. Let's transition up from there. But with that comes growing pains. And as an entrepreneur, as a founder, my dream has always been, I want a triple bottom line company. I want to build something that impacts not just through that product, but through how we deliver that product. Right. And I want a team of women who's so happy and so healthy, and we get to live what we're building here. And it's about the team and the customer. So will you speak into what you shared at CHS this year? Because it was profound to kind of think through the models of how we can manage our team in a way that makes sense for growth.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. And there's such a responsibility of being a business owner. And I don't think people understand the impact that has on individual lives. The responsibility that you take on. One of the greatest experiences that I've had is to have an employee come in and say, I just closed on my first house, because they work for you and you're providing that opportunity. Or somebody come in and they express that their wife just had their first baby. Yeah. And they felt that they had the ability to do that because of the experience and opportunity that you're providing them. And so even before we get into models and business strategies, there's a profound message that needs to be shared of the responsibility that owners have to their team. And just because you were fortunate enough to have the means or the opportunity to be able to create the business that you've created does not put you in a position above. It puts you in a position alongside. And the responsibility that you have to be able to maintain that and grow that is incredibly, incredibly important. I have a number of businesses that I work with and a number that I own, that I've invested in. And every time that responsibility of ownership is not something that I take lightly. And if you go with a service first approach, meaning the greatest leaders that you can read about through history served the lowest person in command. Like you look at Napoleon, Napoleon was an incredible, and there's a lot of controversy around him. But the one thing that I love about Napoleon is he had a relationship with the foot soldier. he would go and sit and be with them, and they knew him, and he would even allow them to call him their little general. Right? I mean, there's this personal touch that he had with everybody in the chain of command. That didn't belittle him or make him less of a person. It actually made him bigger in my eyes. And as a business owner, you have to know and understand that. And you've talked about like the desire to grow a company, and it's the why behind that is most important. Being able to grow a company so that you can have an impact in people's lives, so that you can bring this knowledge of Ayurveda medicine to the world, that you can be able to touch the lives of people, is probably the most important thing that you could possibly do. I remember every stand-up every week at Cellcore, and even in other companies that I run, we calculate lives touched as a statistic that we have in the company, which means how many packages we sent out, how many customer support tickets did we talk with, how many responses did we get in social, how many people viewed our videos, how many lives did we touch this last week, so that we can be able to keep the perspective of that's what matters most.
Right.
And if you continue to focus on more lives that you can touch, more people that you can influence, your company is going to grow no matter what. And so I love what you said about your desires, because people know you, and the people that love you know your heart to be able to grow in that sense. And that to me is what makes owning and running a business incredible. And the other part of it is building your team, which is kind of what you talked about. So that was a little side note, because for some reason it just came into my mind. And I wanted to make sure that I shared it.
Yeah.
But we have a model of operating a business that we call the Fifth Hammer, and it's the law of the Fifth Hammer. And the whole idea behind this comes from Pythagoras, and it's his idea. When Pythagoras was studying the universe, he had the theory, the concept. He's like, I can have a better understanding of the universe and unlock the mysteries of the universe by studying harmonics. In his mind, harmony and music was the key to unlock the universe. And he had his mathematical theories. He did his research. In fact, the modern scale that we have today is based on what Pythagoras did and the research that he did. But one day, as he was walking down the road and contemplating these deep thoughts that he was having, he passed a smithy. And there were 5 smiths in there. And when their hammers all came down and struck all at the same time, it created a tone. And it was the tone that in his mind was what he was looking for. And he went into the smith, and if you could picture Pythagoras being this old dude in a robe, like confronting these burly smithies saying, hey, give me your hammers. And so he took all their hammers, and he took them back to his study, his school, and he started to do the research on the hammers. And he found that 4 hammers had a perfect match. They matched perfectly his concept and theory of music. There was a perfect octave. There was a perfect fourth. There was a perfect fifth. These 4 hammers were right in line with all the mathematical figures that he was contemplating as far as the concept of harmony. The 5th hammer didn't meet his mathematical scenario. In fact, he discarded it in all of his writings. But when he took those 4 hammers and he tried to create the tone of that he heard, he couldn't recreate it. And he couldn't do it until he remembered that 5th hammer that he brought back in and struck them all at once. And that created the tone that he heard and that he was looking for. And we take that story as a parable for business. In business, a lot of times we focus, you have to have your standard operating procedures. You have to have your processes that you do things. You have to have your models that you follow in order to be able to scale and grow and do the things that you need to do so your company works properly. And those are the 4 hammers. The 5th hammer is that one of disruption. The 5th hammer is the concept that you have to be a little crazy to do this.
Yeah.
You have to take a little bit of risk. And you have to be willing to be a little bit out there to extend this. Now, the beauty of what we have found is individuals personally lean one way or the other. I have an amazing team, Spencer and Dave, and they literally are the discipline to my disruption.
Got it.
And we lean into each other to be able to support each other in those roles of discipline and disruption. And we would understand and acknowledge the fact that two opposing truths can exist at the same time to be able to support your company's growth. And the culture that builds allows us to lean into each other's strengths, lean into the opportunities that are ahead of us so that we can be able to embrace both discipline and disruption at the same time. And that's what I see in you. And that's what I saw in you from the very beginning is your fire, your pitta that you have to be able to drive your energy and your excitement. That's the disruption side of things.
Right.
But without the discipline, your business isn't going to go anywhere.
Correct.
So you really need to have a balance between both concepts. And that's why you surround yourself, like I said in the beginning, is you surround yourself with people that are better than you, better in the areas that you need them to be so that your business can thrive, your opportunities grow, and you can take advantage of what's in front of you as best you can. And it's been beautiful to watch over the last couple of years because you've done that, Shivani, in your business as you've seen it grow and all the opportunities in front of you. Right. And that's truly the concept and the law of the fifth hammer.
I love that. I mean, it resonates so beautifully. And in my case, I have 4 hammers who are so disciplined. They are so great at all their jobs. And I think I constantly make everyone crazy because I'm like, I want to go do this. And everyone's like, nah, not even everyone, my one main business partner. And I'm always like, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. My gut says yes. My intuition says yes. Everything says yes. I can't not do the thing. And so I'm like the systems breaker all the time. Like she's moving the whole ship in one direction and I will just drop like bombs around it. But if I don't, we aren't going to move in the big leaps and bounds that I want to move in. And thank God for her, she's Mother Earth to the company. That's what I call her. She's that Mother Earth energy that holds all the systems running, all the trains on time. And so, this podcast is called the Fusionary Health Podcast. It's about health. And when I was calling you for the podcast and we spoke about it, I really thought I, as the founder, cannot be a healthy, balanced human. Balance is an interesting word when you're a founder, because usually you're living the most unbalanced life as you build your business. I think having the right partnerships and mentors for the mental health of the founder to stay on track is actually priceless. It's worth $1 billion plus, because being a founder can be so lonely. Being a disruptor can be extremely lonely because I'm actually surrounded, even in my personal life, my family, my closest people around me are so disciplined, reasonable, system building people, and they're all extremely successful, which is great for them. But that way of being is the opposite of my whole way of being. And so everyone just looks at me like I'm crazy. And I have to look at them and say, in the end, you will see that everything I was building was for a purpose. Yeah. All the books I was writing, all that video you saw me making, there was a reason I had to impact lives or I was going to die in the process. Like I couldn't not do that work. And so how do you I remember at the conference you spoke about like pruning versus discipline and that concept. I want you to explain it because it really helps framework how to proceed sometimes when you're trying to make decisions.
Yeah, no, and I love that. And I love that you remembered that because my background and I live in Idaho. I have a family farm. I think I've shared with you 90% of the protein that we eat comes from our farm, and it's like our garden period. I have an orchard. We've got peaches coming in. I think I have enough peaches, raspberries, nectarines, and other fruit and vegetables to last for the rest of the year. So it's like we're literally in this process of cultivating and growing our garden. And I'm going to take the concept of pruning is the concept of building your team. And in order for, and this is not just team, but it's also systems and procedures and anything that does not serve your current goals and your current opportunities that you have as a company is you have to be able to evaluate and take that opportunity to remove what's not serving you anymore. And that's one of the hardest things that business owners have to do, is you have to have a balance between what's like, where are you going in your life and what's no longer serving you. So, and you think about this from a personal standpoint, you think about it from a business standpoint, relationship standpoint. So the idea and the concept of when you have a tree, and I'll just talk about my peach tree. In the fall, we go through fall pruning, and my dad taught me how to prune fruit trees. And what he told me is that when you prune, you want to, first thing you do is you cut off all the dead, and then you cut off all the bad, and then you cut off the good so the better can grow. And that's the one that's so hard for people to understand, is that there are some times that you have good things going on in your company, but is it truly the best thing for you? And I think Ben Hardy, in his new book, Science of Scaling, really presents this as an opportunity. He calls it raising the floor. And anybody out there, please read his book. It is absolutely incredible. And I think there's a free audio on it that you can download. But he talks about raising the floor. And as you raise the floor, it brings into focus the things that are most important. So the challenge is what's below the floor. And that's where the pruning comes into place. If there are systems that you're holding on to that no longer serve your current focus of your business, you need to remove them. If there are people, and this is the hard thing, because we talked about the responsibility of a business owner to the team and the team members and the life that you're providing, there is a time, and there are times where you have to prune team members. And the challenge with that is that they think that's a bad thing. And the interesting thing about this is, and I've seen this over and over and over, that when you're pruning your company and systems and people in anything like that, when you get to the point where you're looking at the dead, the not good, the sick, and then the good for the better, there are going to be those individuals that have been with you, that have been serving you and have done a great job, but they're not the ones to continue to take you to the levels that you want. That's one of the hardest choices as a business owner to do. But if you do it lovingly, if you do it if you do it in a way, and this is typically one of the things I do with team members like this, is I tell them, hey, your job for the next 3 months is to find a new job. So you're going to continue to be paid. We'll pay you for the next 3 months, but your job, the service that you've done here has worked. We loved everything you do. There's a time and a place for everything. And we think that you have done everything you can for our company to this point. And we want to serve you in helping you find another job. And it's an opportunity to be able to work with those individuals that are good to make way for the better. And it's a hard thing to do. That's like one of the hardest challenges you have as an employee, is that pruning process. The dead and the sick, that's easy. Like we deal with that all the time. But what about those good for the better? And it's interesting because I've seen as forced change comes along, if taken under the right light and with the right perspective, it opens up the opportunity for many, many things to come. You take a look at strawberries, for example. Strawberry and strawberry shoots, you have to prune the strawberry shoots in order to take those, to be able to replant them, to be able to grow in new areas. And so it's that process of life and love and growth to the company, to the individual. And there's a balance. And like I said, there has to be a balance in the way you do this. And you have to approach it with, in that situation where you're pruning the good for the better, you have to approach it with love and service and kindness, because then it will serve them in the best way possible. But that's the whole idea of how do you build your team and continue to make your team, keep your team fresh and moving forward in a way that is congruent to you and your goals and your vision as the company scales.
Hi, Hi, I'm Dr. Shivani Gupta, and I created Fusionary Formulas because I believe everyone deserves a natural way to support their body's health. If you struggle with joint discomfort or stiffness, our turmeric gold delivers powerful curcumin in a form your body can truly absorb. It's science-backed with the highest quality ingredients and designed to support your body's natural inflammatory response. Take the next step in your health and wellness journey today. Visit fusionaryformulas.com and use code FusionaryHealth for 15% off. Fusionary Formulas, ancient wisdom, modern science, maximum impact. True. No, I love what you shared there because, again, the team is who you're surrounding yourself with. The team is who I work with all day. I need that team to be in alignment with me. Otherwise, things are much harder. Like at Fusionary headquarters, we eat organic fresh lunches every day. Brought to work in glass, heated in a toaster, because I don't eat microwave food. I certainly don't eat food out of plastic. We have filtered water. We only eat healthy snacks. We brew Fusionary tea. Why? Because we created it. It's epic.
Right.
It's right there. And we have a glass tea kettle for that. So it's almost like I always dreamed of having a beautiful company, and I couldn't have even dreamed it to be this beautiful. And then as it expands, you get to dream into what do the people look like who are part of that. And I remember when you said all that, I was like, I can't let anyone go in my company. The company is small. And in addition, I don't have that in me to let someone go. But what I'm learning now is as the company grows, organically, people's roles will shift.
Yeah.
So for example, our social media girl the other day was like, I can't handle Shivani. There's too much going on there. I can only handle Fusionary. And so that kind of created a new space. She's only in charge of Fusionary land, which is honestly easier. It's like a very clear brand identity versus Shivani over here is trying to get a book out in the world and teach 2 million things around menopause and health. And that leaves space now for someone new, someone incredible to step in who's right for that new role. And whatever my new, it's almost like I've had an up leveling and I want to shift and I want to change how I'm teaching. And I needed the space to call someone new in. And so again, in terms of like the mental health of founder, it's always great to talk to you because you've already done this and you're already doing this again in new companies. So you're always like, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Make the space for better. It's better is always coming. And another thing that you always share is like, and this one was fascinating to me. I kept asking you like, okay, well, what's the path? Just like write me the plan. I'll just execute it. We'll just win and it'll be great. Because obviously you've built a supplement company that's impacted tens of thousands of practitioners, which to me is so exciting to impact the practitioners. And then a product that's worked for so many because it's had this, everyone knows Cellcore. Everyone knows, about parasite health and cleansing and all these things because of what a great job the products did from the company and the founders and all of you. So it's always interesting to me that there's no perfect way. There's no right way. There's no way set in stone. It is a lot of experiments. And you have to get comfortable with that. You have to get comfortable with the excitement of what that is, as opposed to letting it become a stressor.
Yeah. Yeah. And the beauty in that, and the key to that is there's so much to unpack in there. First of all, I love what you said about giving your employee the opportunity to say, I can't do them both. Yeah. Like you've created an environment that allows for that acknowledgement to occur. And to be able to grow and build. And I say a lot of times is I want to look for the right people and put them in the right seat. Like I don't ever want to set anybody else up for failure. And that's one of the things I think leaders and company and company owners, they find people that they like, but they're in the wrong seat and they're set up for failure. We have this one guy, a really good friend of mine. He jumped 5 different roles at one of our companies because he was the right guy, just not the right seat. And when he finally landed into the role that he ended up with, it was like magic. You knew exactly that he was the right person for that right seat. Yeah. And so having that flexibility to be able to allow that growth to occur within your company and giving space for people to be able to say, this is where my focus is, and this is what I want to do. We need space over here. And for you to take that and run, it's empowering to your team members.
True.
Which is incredible. The other thing in there that was that is so important for people to realize and understand is that there is not a right way to do this. Like we talk about there's metrics that we use. We have this concept called the formula, which shows how do you grow a company based on revenue. And it's a simple formula. It's customer volume. So it's the number of customers you have, average order volume, which is how much are they buying, and their buyer frequency, which is how many times do they buy. So you take the number of customers times the amount of that they buy and how often they buy, and you can calculate revenue. That's easy. But the idea is how then do you continue to build that customer base and grow that customer base? And that's where it comes in so personal to you and the person that you are. And that's where the disruption comes into play. And you can set a course for customer acquisition, and that's where the discipline comes in. You're going to do the things that are going to acquire customers on a regular basis. And then all of a sudden, Shivani, you're going to have this amazing idea or an opportunity about writing a book comes at you like a freight train, and you jump on board and you run with it. And that's where the disruption comes into play. So as you look at this concept of the balance between discipline and disruption and being able to build and craft your team so that you're preparing for those opportunities come, that's what is exciting. That to me is the most exciting part of business.
It's true. I mean, there's so much fun that happens and so much joy and so much growth. You know, Fusionary Formulas was created 10 years ago. I can't believe it's a decade old. And those formulas came to me. I think they were a gift from my father, like angelic support help to create formulas that worked that well. Like I knew I was creating something awesome. I knew it. I was in it for perfection when I created those formulas. But the people who came together, the supplier who came together, the factory, everything came together so beautifully. And then when I put it in orthopedic surgeons' hands, that was my dream. They were like, this is really weird, but your stuff really works. And I was like, really? I knew it would, but they were so astounded. It made me astounded. And that was such a cool moment to be like, okay, we really have something here. If it works that well in your hands, if you're the toughest door, you're seeing the worst patient on earth for joint pain. If I can win with you, then I know I have something here to impact. And now 10 years later, it's interesting to watch the evolution. My team now looks at me and says, Shivani, we actually don't need you at work. We don't need you to do anything related to the supplements at this moment. Our best thing we can do is put you on camera. Just go be in front of your backdrop and just teach all day and talk to great people. And the creation of this podcast was actually a pivotal moment in my life because I didn't realize I'd enjoy it this much. I didn't realize I could be good at it. I didn't know we'd get this huge following who everywhere I meet them in Boca and South Florida are like, I listen to your podcast. Will you tell me the mold guy's number? Like, I think I have that problem too. I'm like, okay, I'm just on this journey, learning and meeting the best humans on earth. Talk about a great job. And my team is saying, can you please just go teach on camera all day? That's actually the seat we needed you in. All those other seats as founders, I had to play those roles. I'm the founder. But now it's almost like you finally get to land where you belong in your zone of genius, in the place that makes you the happiest. And I think that's kind of one of the greatest gifts of entrepreneurship is when you finally get to land in that seat and then evolve and up level in that space that you wanted to be in the most that you didn't even know was your sweet spot.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of what I love to do is to find those individuals, those owner influencers. The secret to me of a successful supplement company, and this is what I look for, is a dynamic owner influencer, somebody who has the presence, the ethos, the ability to captivate an audience, that has the knowledge to be able to motivate the audience and educate the audience. So that's number one. And the other thing is products that actually work. A product that people can have an experience on, that they take, because supplements in the past have been this, oh, well, yeah, I'm taking it, but I don't know if it's doing anything for me. Right. And we've come so far beyond that process of how supplements can work in the body. And the beauty of what we're doing now is we have companies that are supplement companies that are actually treating their clinical studies, that are actually doing double-blind placebo clinical trials. I think I have probably 6 or 7 IRBs out right now for clinical studies on different supplements that we're driving to the science side of things. These are natural products that we're treating like the pharmas do with their drugs that they come out with. I'm in the process right now of doing 100 to 200 person clinical study on the effects of a supplement on congestive heart failure.
Wow.
Right? Literally the reversal of congestive heart failure utilizing a supplement. And so the impact that these have and the ability for people to have an experience on a supplement is phenomenal, because the beauty about supplementation is there's no side effects. There's only side benefits to it. Right. And so like your products that you have a specific reason that you crafted these formulas the way you do, but there's all these side effects that come to it. Sorry about that. I thought I had that turned off. There's all these side effects the side benefits that happen when people take your product.
True.
That they don't expect to have. And that's the beauty of natural supplementation. And then the third thing is a community. You have to be able to build a community around the owner, influencer, and the products. And that's what you're doing right now. That's the stage that you're in, is building that community with your podcast, with your book, your social media, with your education, with teaching at Ayurveda colleges. Everything that you do creates that opportunity for you to build community around you. And it's the community that thrives. It's the community that benefits from the person that you are. And that's the beauty of creating this structure of owner, influencer, products that work, and building a community that really drives everything possible in your universe.
It's true. It's true. It's so much fun. I actually am an introvert by nature. And so my team laughs sometimes because they're like, for being so like a girl who wants to drink tea alone, that being your recharge, it's kind of funny that your favorite thing to do is go to conferences, because I meet all the humans who are like me. So then I feel a lot less crazy. I'm like, okay, there's hundreds of people out there who want to create products that change the world through health. Oh my God. Okay. Then I love speaking on stage. Why? Because if my message lands, your life is shifted. If you just understand Ayurveda, your life will shift. And so the goal is much bigger than the nervous or the stress I get from getting onto certain stages. Half my stages I don't mind at all. And some of them it's like all doctors who look at me like, who is this chick? And what is she about to tell us about turmeric? And why is her PhD on turmeric? And why? Why are we not talking about, crushing bones and how we fix them in the cool ways we do? And then the third thing is the community piece. I didn't expect to love so much being part of the community. Like the community here in South Florida where I live is so health conscious and health and wellness minded. And I've met so many cool people whose lives have changed by just going to the same yoga studio or all the things that we do here. And then expanding that nationally and internationally is fun, because people DM me all the time and they're like, okay, we saw you did that fast. Can you tell us how? And I'll leave voice memos for strangers around the world, just showing them how they can win at their health. So on all levels, it's been an incredible journey. And then working alongside you and being able to text you and say, hey, Ryan, can we talk for 10 minutes? I have this new idea. And just bouncing those bigger ideas off of someone and knowing that it's okay to constantly disrupt is honestly a huge piece of why I keep going. Because when you're surrounded by everyone who does not understand disruption, you literally look crazy. And as long as you have founders alongside you and around you who you can call and say, hey, Hal said yes to my book. Should I do it or am I crazy? And everyone's like, yes, obviously say yes. But it takes a lot to make space for so many big projects and so many trains to move at once. And so that's where mentorship helps.
Yeah. And that's where balance comes into play.
Yeah.
Right. Balance is taking it all the way back to Ayurveda. Balance is the most important thing that you can have in your life. Yeah. Yesterday, I took off from the office and I was on the lake with my family. We're boating for the afternoon. There's balance, and you have to be able to say that, you know what, that's going to be there when I get back, and it's okay, because nobody's going to run as fast as you.
Yeah.
And so you have to give them space to catch up sometimes. And that space comes from a trip going to Italy. It's going to, going to Mexico. I go to Mexico. That's my happy place. You have to create balance in your life so that you can continue to run. Stealing from like Stephen R. Covey from the mid 80s, it's the sharpen the saw concept. If you're a lumberjack and all you do is all day long is just hack that saw and you never take time to sharpen, it's going to dull. And you're going to swing harder and you're going to work harder and have less results. So you have to take time for yourself. That's where the balance comes into play. And I think that the nice thing about it is that you've created an environment where you understand that and your team understands that.
Yeah.
So your team needs that balance.
True.
Your opportunities in front of you need that balance. And there's some times that you don't have to serve those crazy ideas and thoughts that come into play. But that leaves space and slack for the ones that are really going to shoot through the floor and come into focus so that you can be able to take advantage of that.
It's true. My favorite thing to do is to run to Italy. I was obviously living in Italy in a past life. If I can just go to Italy and eat pasta for a week and chill out, my whole brain resets and I come back like ready and much more reasonable, I would say, because I need that balance. I'm so
because their flour is so good. It's so natural. It's I make pasta, but I import my flour from Italy because I don't it's so good for you.
It is. Everything is so good. It's why I lived there last summer with my kids. I was like, I wonder if I lived near a blue zone, if our health would just magically transform. And it was fun. It was really fun to live there. I love escaping to reset, to remind myself that every single thing I do for my health is worth it. Because it's funny, when I travel, I break a lot of my health rules, not all, but a lot of them. And then when I come back, it's like a reverence and love for each thing that I do is so important and so good. And I'm happy to do it again, as opposed to it getting kind of annoying or boring to be so disciplined all the time. I come back like, okay, that life I set in my path was for a reason, and it has so much good and so much benefit to it.
And again, it's your disruption versus discipline. It's your life that you have discipline can get hard,
right?
Which is why you need that disruption to occur. And then you come back and you reset, and then you're ready for the discipline again. And there's such a balance there. And over and over and over, we talk through this is the beauty of balance and finding harmony, right? Pythagoras, when he struck those all five of those hammers, there was harmony.
Right.
That harmony was created by the friction, the impact, that motion of strike. That's an active motion, but that energy that's created through that active motion creates harmony. Energy that is created through discord creates disharmony.
Correct.
Right. So so you have to lean into the energy that you have to be able to create the harmony that you're looking for. And honestly, if you look at it, that's the beauty of Ayurveda. It's finding harmony in space and in the plants and the herbs that are available to us so that we can bring our bodies back into harmony with nature.
It's true. Very true. Beautifully said. I think you should teach Ayurveda alongside me. You did a great job. I'm like, yes, absolutely. And I'm always trying to say that. Like, guys, do you understand the level of harmony and peace and joy and bliss you can have if you sit in the energy of what Ayurveda gives you? It's profound. And one other thing I love about you, Ryan, is I watch your journey. You're this founder, CEO who really grew a great company and then now is off building new ones, but you're making a lot of space in your life for family, for the orchard, for the farm, for really healthy, fresh living. And as a founder, I always try to remind myself, this is a long, beautiful road I get to be on. It's not a 10-year road. It's not a 20-year road. This thing is really in God's hands. It's going to take as long as it's going to take. And I can try to force a lot of things, or I can learn that there's such a beauty in the journey.
Yeah.
That we're not trying to hit an end number. It doesn't matter what end numbers I hit. I'm going to keep wanting to impact. I know that. At one point, I was like, I want to impact 1 billion lives. And I was like, that's kind of stressful. I want to impact 10 million lives. And now I'm like, how about we just impact? And how about we not put all those benchmark finish lines in front of ourselves? The team can do that. But I just know that impact is an ever-growing number for me. But to watch you simultaneously bring harmony into both sides of your life the way you do now reminds me to do so in this moment and not wait till my company is out there in a certain level or whatever, because I want to keep what I do forever. I love what I do. I love this business. I love that I get to impact with Ayurveda. I love that right now it's turmeric, and then it was sleep, and then it was tea. And now I have a lot of self-care items I want to build for the world. Like, the ideas keep coming, but to watch you kind of harmonize those aspects of your life in such a beautiful, balanced way, coming back to the words of today, is very inspiring. So it helps me hold space for that too, in the here and now, on the path.
Well, I appreciate that. And it's funny that it's funny that you use the word journey, and the concept of company in the same process, because if you break company down into what it really means, it's the people that we're on the journey with. It's the company that we keep. It's not a business entity. To me, a company isn't a business entity. A company is the people that we've surrounded ourselves with that are on the journey with us. And if you look at it that way as company, like, oh, I remember growing up, my parents used to say, oh yeah, we're having company over, right?
True.
It's people that are coming to be part of our life. That's a company. In my mind, that's the beauty of a company. And that's the beauty of watching people like yourself create that same type of environment where the company is the people that are on the journey with you. It's the company you keep, not a business entity that you're building. It's the company you keep.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. Well, I could talk to you all day, Ryan, because there's always a million things you and I can talk about. But I'm so glad you joined me today on the podcast. I'm so glad we got to touch on some of these zones of genius that are yours, and the impact you get to make by helping build founders and companies and teams, and the companies that you're building, the projects that you're building, really. So are there any final thoughts that you have for the audience today?
You know what? Just be true to yourself. Like, and take the risk. The discipline is there, but the disruption has to come. And surround yourself with the people that make you better. Like, literally, that's all I've done. I've had the opportunity to be in the right place at the right time, and I was ready for the opportunity. And be ready for what's in front of you, because it's beautiful.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that ending message. Thank you, Ryan, so much. And where can everyone find you and Fifth Hammer?
fifthhammer.com. If you have any questions or want to send me an email, ryan@fifthhammer.com. I'd love to hear any of your thoughts or journeys or questions, or, how I can serve you and your community, Shivani. Thank you so much for having me on.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me on the podcast today. Thank you for listening in, everyone, to the Fusionary Health Podcast. To catch us on the next episode, we'll be out next week. To learn more about the podcast, you can visit me at shivanigupta.com. Thanks, everyone. See you next week. Thanks for joining me for this episode. Check out our sponsor, Fusionary Formulas, the potent turmeric supplement used by doctors around the U.S. for patients with pain and inflammation. www.fusionaryformulas.com. I'm your host, Dr. Shivani Gupta. For more, visit shivanigupta.com. Subscribe to this podcast in Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Click the follow button or subscribe in any of the apps that you use. That's all I've got for you on the Fusionary Health Podcast this week. You have the power to transform your health and achieve vibrant health starting today.